Have you ever said something in English and watched a British person's face go completely blank? Yeah, that's because you just used a phrase no native British speaker would ever say. Today, we're fixing that. I'm going to show you 5 phrases that instantly reveal you're not a native speaker, and I'll tell you exactly what to say instead. Hi, I'm your host from Daily English Edge. If you're serious about sounding natural in English conversations, this lesson is essential. Whether you're talking to Brits online, applying for jobs in English-speaking countries, or just want to avoid those awkward silences, knowing which phrases to avoid is your secret weapon. Let's dive in. Let's start with a phrase that confuses British speakers immediately. You say, "I'm boring," but that's not what you mean, right? You're trying to say you're bored. You're not interested in something. Native speakers never say, "I'm boring." That means you think you're a boring person, which is very different. Instead, say, "I'm bored," or "I find that boring." For example, "I'm bored with this movie," or "This conversation is boring." See the difference? Boring is what something or someone is. Bored is what you are when something is boring. This is the same problem, but the opposite. You might say, "I'm exciting," when you mean you're excited about something. British speakers will look at you confused. You're not excited about being exciting. You're excited because something exciting is happening or about to happen. Say, "I'm excited about," or "I'm excited to." For example, "I'm excited about the party," or "I'm excited to meet you." If you describe yourself as a person, you could say, "I'm an exciting person," or "I'm an exciting friend," but that's different from saying, "I'm exciting" in conversation. Native speakers rarely use it that way. Here's another classic one. You say, "I'm confusing," but you actually mean you're confused. You're not a confusing person in that moment. You're confused about something. British speakers use "I'm confused" or "I'm confused about this." For example, "I'm confused about the homework," or "This website is confusing. I don't understand it." The word confusing describes a thing that causes confusion. The word confused describes how you feel when something confuses you. It's a simple swap that makes your English sound instantly more native. Native British speakers almost never phrase it this way. They say, "Do you have any questions?" or simply, "Any questions," if they're being casual. When you say, "Do you have a question for me?" it sounds formal and slightly odd to British ears. They prefer the plural form because they're inviting multiple questions. Or they'd say, "Is there anything you'd like to ask?" or "Does anyone have a question?" In meetings or presentations, Brits might say, "I'm happy to take questions," or "Fire away with your questions." It's a small thing, but it's the kind of phrase that makes you sound like a language learner instead of someone who uses English naturally. This one is tricky because it seems right, but British speakers don't use it this way. You might say, "I'm interested to learn about history," but native speakers say, "I'm interested in learning about history," or "I'm interested in history." The preposition matters. You use interested in when talking about what interests you. You might say, "I'm interested to see what happens next." But even then, Brits more often say, "I'd like to see what happens," or "I'm keen to see." The phrase "interested to" works in some contexts like, "I'm interested to hear your opinion," but "interested in" is much more natural and common. When in doubt, go with "I'm interested in" plus a noun or gerund, the ing form. Say, "I'm interested in football," not "I'm interested to play football." Say, "I'm interested in playing football," and that works perfectly. There you have it. 5 phrases that instantly reveal whether you speak like a native or you're still learning. Start noticing these patterns in your own speech and swap them out for the natural alternatives. The best way to lock these in is to practice speaking them out loud and using them in real conversations. If you want to practice with real native speakers, check out the resources in the description. And remember, you're already ahead of millions of learners just by being aware of these mistakes. Subscribe to Daily English Edge for a new English lesson every single day, and I'll see you in the next one.